Welcome back. This is Trinity, and you are listening to Lovespiracy. On my last video, I said I wasn't going to do it on the next day. It got late, and I was exhausted, and I needed to give myself rest. Anyway, I'm glad that you're here. I'm going to just say an unlimited series because I keep saying numbers, and then I keep doing more. I hope that you were able to listen to the other videos that I did because they all connect together. So it's just one piece after the next. This one is going to be called The Russian Asset. So it's been coming up a lot lately about what Trump is doing and if he's an asset. In my last in my last audio, I was talking about the connect since 77 and 78 with his first wife, Ivana, and he had been watched since then. Then in the 80s, he said that he was going to run for president. And there's some things that he's doing now that he did back then. So like I said, so I don't repeat myself, please listen to the other shows. They all connect. Okay. First, I really have to tell you what the difference is. So here's the difference between an asset and an agent. And I think this is where people get confused because that's where I was confused. I was like, how can he be an agent? That doesn't make any sense. This is the difference between asset and agent. So in the context of intelligence or espionage, an asset refers to a person or entity that provides information to a spy agency, while an agent is a person actively involved in spying or often working undercover to gather intelligence. Meaning an asset is typically a source of information while an agent is the one actively collecting it. Sometimes the terms are used interchangeably, but technically an agent is a more active participant than an asset. That makes complete sense. One, he wasn't born in Russia. You know what I mean? So everybody's like, oh, but he can't. No, he really can't be an agent. He can't. Asset? Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's some of the things that he's done so far to prove that. And this is the one he's in most trouble with. Well, and now nobody's talking about it. So this is a article Donald Trump stored, showed off, and refused to return classified documents. Okay, and this was in Miami. Donald Trump improperly stored in his Florida estate sensitive documents on nuclear capabilities, repeatedly enlisted aides and lawyers to help him hide records demanded by investigators, and showed off a Pentagon's, quote, plan of attack and classified map, according to a sweeping felony indictment that paints a damning portrait of the former president's treatment of national security information. Again, he is an asset. This is what an asset does. The one thing we don't know is who he showed them to. I know they said there was a couple of rich guys or whatever. The same way he just had this Zelensky thing, this whole giant meeting, and there was a Russian reporter caught in the meeting. He was in the meeting, and they said they didn't know how he got there. So do I think that there were Russian agents that he showed this to? Absolutely. Okay. The conduct alleged in the historic indictment, the first federal case against the former president, cuts to the heart of any president's responsibility to safeguard the government's most valuable secrets. Prosecutors say the documents he stowed away, refused to return, and in some cases showed to visitors, risk jeopardizing not only relations with foreign nations, again, what we're going through right now, but also the safety of troops and confidential sources. Quote, our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced, Jack Smith said. We all know who Jack Smith is, the Justice Department special counsel. He says these are violations of the laws that put our country at risk. Trump, currently the leading contender for 2024, obviously this is before this article had came out before he got reelected, is due to make his first court appearance Tuesday afternoon in Miami. And a rare bit of welcome news for the former president. The judge initially assigned to the case is someone he appointed and who drew criticism for ruling in his favor during a dispute last year over a special master assigned to review the seized classified documents. Okay, I don't have to go into the rest of that. We know about the felony counts. We know about all of the stuff he's already done. But this is where, again, he's a narcissist. He's completely full of himself, but he's not stupid. He's doing exactly what he's been told. And when he got the information, he kept the information. He showed the information. He made everything readily available. And this is why we're in the predicament that we're in right now. He has been a Russian asset. Okay, I'm not even going to read the entire article because everybody pretty much knows what happened after that. And the case got dismissed. Of course it did, right? Of course it did. Every single thing that is going to happen from here on in is of importance on the part of the United States. Russia didn't want Ukraine to be part of NATO. We are right now separating ourselves in such a horrific way. And we're doing it with two great superpowers. Russia, right? And Israel. Because now we're not talking about Israel anymore. Now we're not talking about Gaza anymore. And him wanting to take all the Palestinians and then turn it into some kind of weird resort. We're not talking about that no more. We should be. But now we're concerned with the Ukraine thing. Okay. I'm going to play some audio. There's a book that was just released. Ugh. Yeah. So this is a short video. I'm going to try to play it as loud as I can. There was an author, and he literally explains how Donald Trump and Russia also have a KGB connection. So this came out 4 days ago, actually. All right, let's see if I can play this. It's only 48 seconds, but this is by the author himself. Okay, here we go.
People are shocked today that Trump is betraying Ukraine. He's betraying Europe. He's siding with Putin instead of that. Well, he did it as early as 1987 when he was starting to run for the presidency in 1988. And that is very well documented. It was printed in the New York Times. It's exactly the foreign policy he is acting out today that is so horrifying. In that, this is the end of NATO. It's the end of the Western alliance. Trump is allying with Vladimir Putin and against Ukraine and all of Western Europe. And from an American point of view, I think it's as horrifying as it must be for the Ukrainians.
Okay.
People are shocked today.
Whoops. So his name is Craig Unger. And he did this he's the one that's coming out with this, but he's not the only one that's now taken into consideration, connecting the dots from back in the day to say that there is a real possibility he showed his cards. He showed his cards. Now, if you take the U.S., right? And he's like, oh, we want to take Canada. Oh, we want to take Mexico. If Russia takes Ukraine, I can guarantee you we're going to take Canada. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And he knows it. The plan that he has, he knows is going to work. He has the whole thing figured out. He was given a promise, and he's going to follow through with that promise. He did that damn meeting yesterday. He didn't talk about healthcare. He didn't talk about groceries. He didn't talk about gas. He didn't talk about any of this stuff. He brought up Elon Musk 3 times, and we will be covering Musk later. He brought up the Panama Canal. Now, I found out about the Panama Canal, I think like 2 days ago. So there are 2 ports. He did bring up 2 ports. He didn't say in that speech, he did not bring up who bought it. 2 of them have been bought, but they were bought by China. And he's pissed because he thought that if he took it over and it was just up for grabs at this point, it was only owned by Panama, then he wouldn't have an issue. Now he's got an issue because he has to get it from China. They bought the port in the front and they bought the port in the back. That means right now, smart as hell. If you're trying to cover your ass and you don't want to deal with somebody like Trump, that was a smart move. Because they have the opportunity to shut it down. You can either come in or come out, but it's up to China to do that. And I'm telling you, China's not going to give it up. Why would they give it up? While he's sitting here and he's doing his jabberjaw nonsense, there are other countries paying attention and saying, oh, okay, he left that open. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. It's like any chess game. It's like any chess game. The difference with Trump is he's not trying to win. He's just trying to get as many pieces off the board as he can. That's not how you play chess. And I know that because I suck at chess, because I play it like checkers and I want to take all the pieces. So I know how to win, but my brain just won't let me do it. I just want to take everything. Even though he's thinking that way, he's leaving so many opportunities open for all these other countries, and they know it. Again, I don't think that was on purpose. I'm 100% sure that was not on purpose. He did not see that shit coming at all. So after he winds up having these connects with Russia, I don't want to talk about the dossier because, one, it's extensive, and this is kind of more important. But when you start realizing that by us not backing Ukraine, even though other countries are coming in and they're like, we're going to give you this, it's not enough. And he knows it's not enough. When he sat there and he begged Zelensky, he was like, I'm telling you, you have to. He meant that. He meant that. All Russia has to do is get Ukraine. Now, here's... Okay. When Russia first invaded Ukraine, it was all out hell. People were like, I cannot believe it. Like, they did it out of nowhere. It was just a Tuesday, and then boom, this happened, right? It's the same way with the Israel thing, right? A lot of these things are planned out. He knew what he was doing. Because like I said in my other videos, he has been making these plans. He's been like walking on that little edge constantly. Constantly. But he knows that if he doesn't get them to not get any more military grade weapons that he was getting from Biden, he cannot win. Which is super weird to me until I found out how big Ukraine is. The place is freaking huge. Of course he wants it. So, let me go ahead and pull up the article on, or the audio, sorry, of other people saying that it's a real possibility that he is a Russian asset. And a lot of people want Trump gone. They want him gone. There was a guy, his name was Al Green. I played him on the radio 2 weeks ago. He put in paperwork for impeachment, and he was thrown out yesterday for causing a ruckus about what Trump was saying. Because he got 72 standing ovations. He didn't say anything of actual importance except this stupid shit about taking over the world. It's like a Pinky and the Brain episode. So let's pull up the audio of others, very intelligent people who have dealt with Russia for decades. They're like, we see the pattern. If he had not did what he did with Zelensky, if he didn't have a Russian reporter, if he didn't do a lot, he's screwing up big time. Had he not done that, we probably wouldn't have looked as far back as we did. Okay. Because I don't want these to be too long. I didn't even know I was 14 minutes in. I'm going to read this article very quick, and then I'm going to go into the next part. I am going to continue with the Russian asset stuff, and then we're going to get into Chernobyl. Okay, so an article came out yesterday, and it says Elon Musk AI chatbot says a Russian asset delivered the State of the Union. So that's fun. So according to the AI chatbot called Grok, which was developed by Elon Musk's company XAI, there is a 75 to 85% likelihood that the person who delivered the State of the Union address on Tuesday night is a Putin-compromised Russian asset. It's in describing Grok, by the way, Musk said it is maximally truth-seeking AI, even if that truth is sometimes at odds with what is politically correct. So that's pretty awesome. He's pretty much saying this is as legit as it's going to get. So it says, like, for example, determining that his good buddy Donald Trump, who has given Musk's free reign over every aspect of the federal government is most likely a Russian asset. This all began with a question put to Grok, and this is what the question was. Quote, what is the likelihood from 1 to 100 that Trump is a Putin compromised asset? Use all, and this is what they told the AI to do. Use all publicly available information from 1980 on and his failure to ever say anything negative about Putin, but has no issue attacking allies. Musk's genius AI chatbot took it from there, piecing together a string of data points that led to its ultimate conclusion. And I'm sorry about the cars, the sounds in the background. I can't do anything about that. Anyway, how strange is it that these days that such devices exist, and stranger still, that they are becoming more and more dependent upon them, and how we haven't yet determined if that is good or bad. Of Trump, Grok, the AI, said in part, quote, throughout the 1990s and 2000s, as Trump faced bankruptcies, he increasingly relied on funding from sources tied to Russia and former Soviet states. His sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, made statements reinforcing this. Donald Jr. in 2008 said, quote, Russians make up a pretty disproportionate cross-section of a lot of our assets. And Eric in 2014 claimed, we have all the funding we need out of Russia. It is also noted that leaked Kremlin documents reported by The Guardian in 2021 suggest Putin personally approved a 2016 operation to back Trump, viewing him as, quote, mentally unstable and exploitable, with potential compromising material from past Moscow visits. As for drawing its artificially intelligent, maximally truth-seeking conclusion, Grok said, weighing this, the financial ties, decade-long and substantial, intelligence suggesting Russian intent, and Trump's unwavering refusal to criticize Putin despite attacking allies, tilt the scale. Given all of that and more, if you read the entire assessment, Grok said that Trump's ego and debts make him unwittingly pliable, fits the evidence, adjusting for uncertainty and alternative explanations. Example, ideological, alignment, and being naive. I estimate a 75 to 85% likelihood Trump is a Putin compromised asset, leaning toward the higher end due to the consistency of his behavior and the depths of his historical ties. So says the truth-seeking AI chatbot developed by Musk's own company. Given that, it should come as no surprise to Musk or to Trump that so many Americans would choose to agree with the AI chatbot's analysis with its 75 to 85% likelihood leaning towards the higher end. I'm going to end it here. I will see you in the next part.
If you enjoy our content, please show your support by liking, sharing, and following. Our strength is in independent media. Our voices matter. Thank you for making this possible.